This episode is sponsored by Kinsta. As a business, you have client meetings and keeping up with everyday tasks. Who has the time to stress out about site security and speed? Well, with Kinsta, the technical stuff is taken care of. Kinsta is your managed hosting provider for WordPress, meaning that customers get a hosting environment alongside a plethora of features, configurations, and optimizations. With Kinsta, you get lightning-fast load times, top-tier security, and unmatched human-only customer support. Whether you're a business owner, web developer, or running a digital agency, Kinsta makes managing your website easy and efficient. Did I mention fast load times? Just by moving to Kinsta, you can experience up to 200% faster load times, as well as enterprise-grade security. And thanks to their unlimited free expert-led migrations, Kinsta ensures a smooth transition from other hosting providers. I really enjoy My Kinsta, which is the platform's intuitive custom dashboards that make managing my website or multiple websites a breeze. Ready to experience Kinsta's hosting for yourself? Get your first month free when you sign up at kinsta.com today. It's the perfect opportunity to see why Kinsta is trusted by thousands of businesses worldwide to power their websites. Visit kinsta.com to get this limited time offer for new customers on select plans. Don't miss out. Get started for free today. Guys, I've got something cool to tell you about. As an engineering leader, a manager, and an engineer myself, I'm geeking out over a new product I'm just discovering that helps me with each of these points of view. The great team at SEMA, builders of the SEMA Intelligence Platform, have been working on what they call the Product Roadmap Radar. It's this integrated solution that uses generative AI to observe your code and Jira in order to summarize, synthesize, and make it easier to deliver your roadmap. It not only helps keep your roadmap on track, but it helps reduce the time engineers spend in meetings. Cue all the engineers clapping. The Product Roadmap Radar is extremely easy to set up. This only takes about 5 minutes. Just enable your integrations and let AI do all the mapping for you. My favorite part? I'm glad you asked. The radar doesn't just tell you about your roadmap. It suggests changes you need to make based on the code that's been written and the stories that have been addressed. No commenting, no special setup, all generative AI. It gives you an outside view of your roadmap based on the code and projects a target completion date based on outstanding work and activity. Again, no comments, no special setup. It even detects shadow work when development is being done but Jira isn't being updated. I'm pretty jazzed about it, and I think you will be too. Take a second to watch a short but awesome demo video. Go to codestory.co/PRR to watch it today. You'll like what you see. This episode is brought to you by Paddle. Don't settle for less when you can have more, MOR, with Paddle, your merchant of record. Eliminate the headaches of payments, grow your revenue everywhere, and focus on what you do best, building your product. Get more revenue with less hassle at paddle.com. This episode is brought to you by PropelOff. People take authentication for granted, but it's more than how customers log into your product. It's how you manage your relationship with your users. The easiest way to make authentication your advantage is to use PropelOff. PropelOff is more than just functional. It's powerful. With tools like Managed UIs, Enterprise SSO, robust user management features, and actionable insights, PropelOff adapts as your product grows. And the best part? When auth is effortless, your team can focus on scaling, not troubleshooting. That means more releases, happier customers, and more growth for your business. Save dev time, win over your customers, and propel your business forward with PropelOff. Check them out at propeloff.com. That's PROPELAUTH.com.
This is Code Story, a podcast bringing you interviews with tech visionaries.
Spent 6 months moonlighting.
There's nothing on the back end.
Who share what it takes to change an industry.
I don't exactly know what to do
took
next.
many goes to get right.
Who built the teams that have their
A
back.
company is its people.
The teams help each other achieve
I was
more.
proud of our team.
Keeping scalability top of mind.
All that infrastructure was a
Yes,
pain.
we've been fighting it as we grow.
Total waste of time.
The stories you don't read in the headlines.
It's not an easy thing to achieve, mind
Took it
you.
off the shelf and dusted it off and tried it again.
To ride the ups and downs of the startup life.
You need to really want
It's
it.
not just about technology.
All this and more on Code Story.
I'm your host, Noah Labhart, and today we welcome you back to the creation story of Railswear with Yaroslav and Sergiy. This episode is brought to you by Paddle. Don't settle for less when you can have more, MOR, with Paddle, your merchant of record. Eliminate the headaches of payments, grow your revenue everywhere, and focus on what you do best, building your product. Get more revenue with less hassle at paddle.com. This episode is brought to you by Propel-Off. People take authentication for granted, but it's more than how customers log into your product. It's how you manage your relationship with your users. The easiest way to make authentication your advantage is to use Propel-Off. Propel-Off is more than just functional. It's powerful. With tools like Managed UIs, Enterprise SSO, robust user management features, and actionable insights, Propel-Off adapts as your product grows. And the best part? When Off is effortless, your team can focus on scaling, not troubleshooting. That means more releases, happier customers, and more growth for your business. Save dev time, win over your customers, and propel your business forward with Propel-Off. Check them out at propelloff.com. That's PROPELAUTH.com. Okay, so when we talked about team, let's flip to scalability. And this will be interesting because there's technical scalability of specific products, right? There's scalability of your business, maybe even scalability about how you do things. But I'm curious about, in all those areas, if there have been interesting stories where you've had to fight scalability as you've grown.
Right now, we're fighting scalability for sure. We were under pushing ourselves before, and now we're pushing ourselves beyond. If you look at our revenue, it was flat for many years, the same number, and then we just decided to grow, and then this is where we started growing. I remember the day we said, hey, we're not commercial enough, or we don't push ourselves to be commercially successful enough. And we did what we always do, which is learn what that does it mean. And we started pushing the growth of our products, making mistakes, or investing somewhere, expecting things, creating a bunch of functionality, and then hoping, the clients will come, or growing our marketing in some particular direction and then hoping for something else. And so we were then we were pushing ourselves, and then we were learning from things. We were over-investing, we were experimenting, going above and beyond. Now we're at this point where we decided to scale the amount of products that we work on, just to put more chips on more tables. And we started working with them on a quality that we full ownership, even at the joint venture products. And then we were wait, what is our role? Oh, our role is this. Okay, let's do our role, and then dialogue with the rest of the members of the products to do their role. So we overpushed ourselves, and then we kind of step back and let the management structure soak in the pressure from a particular product that we're doing. Recently, we decided to get into getting investment for something. This is a big experiment for us, right? Which can be a successful or failure, but we were let's try it. Let's see how it works. And while you're doing investment, you do due diligence. Due diligence is something that we didn't do that much, but we're great in data. So, let's use our data capabilities. And we start pushing, let's say, our data and analytics team to help us with this. And this is not the speed that they were used to doing that while being an internal team. And it starts the bones start cranking and the people start stretching. And we were oh, wow, this is the physical boundary of our team, of our body as an organization. And this body is stretching and it hurts we would work in a physical body. And it does it from growth. You cannot overgrow yourself too much. You cannot overpush yourself too much because it's just going to, rip bones and muscles. But you need to push yourself all the time until it hurts so that, no pain, no gain. So this is something that is happening to us right now.
So originally, we have roots in Eastern European country, right, in Ukraine. So majority of the companies in Ukraine at that moment were service companies. But the point here that majority of those companies, they were focused on commercial side. Yaroslav mentioned that we were not commercially focused. So he's engineer, I'm engineer, a few more folks who were running in the management team, running the company. They were also rather craftsmen than businessmen or the entrepreneurs. And that was a problem for sure, from some perspective. But, we consider it also as a journey that we want to enjoy. Do things that we love to do. Writing code, creating products for clients, it didn't matter much. So we just wanted to build software. And the problem that building quality software requires kind of very good engineers. So when you start to search Ruby engineers in Ukraine back then, of the quality that we expect, then you can find just a few. So it's not something that you can build a team of a few hundred people and find those engineers in Ukraine. So it was a problem, right? And one of the solutions, we started to go beyond and start to search for the talent among the other countries, kind of in Romania, in Spain, in Portugal, in Brazil, everywhere. And it helped us to scale, I would say, a bit to the extent that we have right now. But still, comparing to the bigger outsourcing shops, which has thousands of people, our model is still unscalable. I mean, our previous model, like if you would talk about pure consultancy model, it's unscalable if you want to deliver a very good quality software. What usually they do, they hire a few good engineers in the team and then a lot of juniors, middles, they call them, whatever they call them. And so those seniors, they drive the development and the rest of the team just relaxing. And the problem, the other side of the coin, is that companies, clients, they used to the models of outsourcing shops when they know that, a few folks work, the other do not work. So they want to start conversation already from the rates. And so they rather search for the cheaper force than for someone who will become actually a technical partner for them, who will take the role of CTO. And this is something they do not expect from our model. So our consultancy model is not scalable well, I would say that. So it's like boutique shop, I would say.
At first, we were learning how to write code, because what most outsourcing companies do, they don't even know how to write code. First, you write code. Then we learned to build product. Then we were learning how to build businesses, software businesses, which basically encapsulates all of it, but changes it completely as well. And now we're learning how to build a machine that builds the software businesses, because we have multiple software products, at the same time scaling the businesses themselves. Sometimes companies can just get lucky and smart, and let's say like lucky smart, and they can have this software product which becomes like Cursor, for example, right? It's a plugin for IDE, which there were people who were making plugins for IDE. They never made it into $200 million ARR product. The complexity of this software for 200 million ARR compared to another software that's making like 10,000 MRR might be 1 to 1,000, meaning Cursor is much simpler, for example, than a software that's making 10,000 MRR, because this is the business that company built with this 10,000 MRR. They're doing something incredibly complex, with incredibly sophisticated and smart people, but they will not scale in any way like Cursor does. And Cursor, from the business perspective, is a genius business, right? A very simple business. The fastest growing company on the planet, right? They reached 200 million ARR in the shortest period of time, something like that. When we were working from the craft perspective and trying to learn how to write code in the perfect way with all this stuff, it has nothing to do with figuring out how to build software businesses.
So engineers, that's one thing. But the other thing is scalability horizontally, kind of introducing new roles. And we were big fans of the Valve handbook later on. And there is like a huge bubble in the middle of their universe which says HR. We looked at that picture and completely ignored this big bulb in the middle. Hiring ad hoc someone, like new position, just read a bit what is that position and try to figure on the flight how to run the interview process and so on. And only after some time, like few years, we understand that recruitment as a process is very important, and having a team in place which you can just say, hey, we need this type of expert and we need this type of position. And they kind of have all the instruments to set up the process, to prepare the interview processes, to run this interview pipeline, to publish this message that we search for such position and so on. Building a recruitment team was the key point for us to be able to start grow horizontally and vertically.
So then, for you both, I'm curious, as you step on the balcony, you look across all that you've built, product-wise, company-wise, the clients that you've made put a smile on their face. What are you most proud of?
For me, there's one thing. So we build this machine that builds products, like machine that builds machines or machine that builds products. This whole thing, this Railsware Product Studio, this Railsware thing has a life on its own. It's stories and myths, it's generic goals. There's certain excellence that continue to expand. Our management team stay hungry and foolish and curious and conscious. We'll always stay like that. We have this consistent thing which has certain aspects of it, and we can talk about them. But what I'm proud of is that we built this core engine that possesses all the knowledge and all the people are a part of it, and so on and so on. This is a great thing that is capable of producing things like Calendly. We are capable of constant, repeatable production and producing of great software. And I would say I'm proud of us being this. One of our byproducts is our people are happy because we care for them. They're not pawns on our chessboard. There are people, and we would love for them to evolve, to grow, and to be generally happy. Sometimes you got to stretch them, and it's painful, but it might be, you might have a smile on your face when you stretch them. Sometimes not, though. I'm proud of this core thing that we are right now, and we're evolving, and hopefully we'll turn it into something much bigger and much greater that can build software, which, people would use that software and save a couple of hours per day so they can go back to their kids or their dogs and spend quality life.
Definitely, the company we have built is machine for building machines, actually. Yeah. So our major product is to build products. I like and I'm proud of that we still be able to focus on craft and being successfully commercially. So we are able not to compromise on the quality of what we do. Sometimes it's not that straightforward to make a decision, right? Should you go with the better product or you should go with kind of more commercial? Sometimes it's just, you never know what will bring you a commercial success, right, in products. Sometimes it's the quality of the UI. Sometimes it's the speed of delivery to the production. The company that we have built and the company which is able to build products and not sacrificing the quality of the work that we do. Because when you have a good talent and you push them to do some work badly during some period of time, they start to become demotivated, unhappy, and in the end you lose control over the team. So I guess this balance that we keep between being successfully commercially and being able to deliver those products to the market which users love, this is the biggest proud.
Okay, so then let's flip the script a little bit. Tell me about a mistake you made and how you and your team responded to it.
Not investing $80,000 into Calendly that would now be $250 million. That's my favorite mistake. We did invest in our clients before Calendly, and it was all a bust because we didn't understand what is it that we're doing. In Calendly, we also wouldn't understand what is it we're doing. But at that time, we said, let's pull the plug on the investments. It just doesn't make sense. We didn't know how to do it, and we're not great at it. But we put our craft and soul into Calendly. So theoretically, it should have been successful, right? Or we should have at least tracked the metrics of Calendly at the beginning or understand it in some way. But now we're smart, and then back then we weren't. So we just said no because it was such a tiring process of trying to return those investments or help clients, and it was very painful.
And the most interesting situation here that we borrowed that money. So it's not like we have been offered to purchase something for additional money. So we borrowed that money. We risked without money because if the client wouldn't return them, so we wouldn't get that money at all. But we refused to take the equity at that moment.
But just to be sure, we were working with successful Silicon Valley companies before. They were doubling, tripling, quadrupling, right? They never grew 1,500 times. We didn't know this is possible because the first Calendly evaluation was 1.5 million. So we didn't know that we would risk $80,000 knowing that it can grow 1,000 times. But double or triple, it wouldn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. 80,000 to 160K. Oh, it's okay. You lost $8,000. But you lost 249,920,000 on this transaction.
And this is right now our, I would say, blueprint, something we compare to. Like if we have some problem and we discuss like why we did this and kind of we shouldn't be done that, you always compare it to those numbers, like to $200 million. And then, well, is it problem of this size? No, it isn't. So why do we even care about it?
I have another one. We built a CI product before it was cool. And we built a whole CI product at work, continuous integration product. And then we saw that there's one product that went to the market, and then they were like, we're too late. We were not too late. Like, that was a great time to deploy it and develop, and probably we would make another, $100 million company. But we were crafty, and we had this product feeling, and we were able to create products, but we just didn't have this business acumen, which came much later with all those mistakes. And now we would never do that, right? We would deliver the CI product. That's the problem. You lack the knowledge, and you didn't even know who to talk to. But nowadays people have ChatGPT. Take deep research or whatever, or Google Gemini deep research and say, hey, I'm in this situation. I just built a CI product. This product came to the market and I'm thinking of killing it. What do you think? And we'll be like, I think you're stupid. I think you should actually deliver it to the market because you have, a great ability to capture stuff. So now people have a generic advisor that can be much better than just like, we were sitting in Ukraine and we had some friends, but there was just no one to talk to about it. And we were like, well, okay.
Guys, I've got something cool to tell you about. As an engineering leader, a manager, and an engineer myself, I'm geeking out over a new product I'm just discovering that helps me with each of these points of view. The great team at SEMA, builders of the SEMA intelligence platform, have been working on what they call the Product Roadmap Radar. It's this integrated solution that uses generative AI to observe your code and Jira in order to summarize, synthesize, and make it easier to deliver your roadmap. It not only helps keep your roadmap on track, but it helps reduce the time engineers spend in meetings. Cue all the engineers clapping. The Product Roadmap Radar is extremely easy to set up. This only takes about 5 minutes. Just enable your integrations and let AI do all the mapping for you. My favorite part? I'm glad you asked. The radar doesn't just tell you about your roadmap. It suggests changes you need to make based on the code that's been written and the stories that have been addressed. No commenting, no special setup, all generative AI. It gives you an outside view of your roadmap based on the code and projects a target completion date based on outstanding work and activity. Again, no comments, no special setup. It even detects shadow work when development is being done but Jira isn't being updated. I'm pretty jazzed about it, and I think you will be too. Take a second to watch a short but awesome demo video. Go to codestory.co/PRR to watch it today. You'll like what you see. This episode is brought to you by Paddle. As a startup, you face unique challenges to stay competitive. You and your team need to stay focused on your product, not your payments. You need to do more, MOR, and DIY less. With Paddle. Paddle is your merchant of record, becoming the seller of record for your SaaS transactions, enabling your team to focus on what's important, your product. Paddle handles all payment management across multiple gateways and methods, taking ownership of tax liability while remaining compliant with regulations across all markets. The platform handles all aspects of SaaS billing models, upgrades, add-on, trials, and more. Let's look at the results. MOR revenue optimization is built into Paddle and accounts for up to 16% higher conversion rates, reduced payment failures, localized pricing, and churn prevention, recovering 40% of cancellations. Their developer-friendly tools are API first with comprehensive documentation, removing the burden from your engineers. With Paddle as your merchant of record, you'll generate more revenue, find and keep more customers, grow faster, and stay compliant everywhere. So what are you waiting for? Get more revenue with less hassle at paddle.com. This message is sponsored by Vanta. Trust isn't just earned, it's demanded. Whether you're a startup founder navigating your first audit or a seasoned security professional scaling your GRC program, proving your commitment to security has never been more critical or more complex. That's where Vanta comes in. Businesses use Vanta to establish trust by automating compliance for in-demand frameworks like SOC 2, ISO 27001, HIPAA, and more. And with automation and AI throughout the platform, you can proactively manage vendor risk and complete security questionnaires up to 5 times faster, getting valuable time back. Vanta can also save you money. A new IDC white paper found that Vanta customers achieve $535,000 per year in benefits. So the platform pays for itself in just 3 months. Join over 10,000 global companies like Atlassian, Quora, and Factory who use Vanta to manage risk and prove security in real time. For a limited time, listeners get $1,000 off Vanta at vanta.com/codestory. That's VANTA.com/codestory for $1,000 off. Let's move forward then. And this will be really exciting because I know we've talked about partnerships and new products, things that you're working on. I'm curious about what the future looks like for Railsware, for what you're going to move forward and do, for what you have on the horizon, and even beyond.
A product studio concept that we have now, we plan to evolve it further So we have those 3 products of ours, 2 joint ventures and consultancy companies. So they're functioning kind of every product, every direction has their own team. So Railsphere becomes like a mother company for many companies right now. They are more and more atomic, and independent from each other. And we plan to build at least $1 billion business out of those 5 that we work on. Maybe there are going to be more products. So that's the kind of the plan that we're moving towards, and this is our goal, I'd say.
Yeah, now, we don't get overly connected to the billion or not billion. What we really enjoy is having like enough money to expand and experiment more and just build amazing software that like it's actually really useful, with proper usage of proper real AI and solve some real world problems. That like there's this new partnership that we're about to get into, like which has in the context of ADHD, which is a big thing in the world. And if we can help within this context, this is great. Software has this weird ability to influence so many people's lives if it's done right, and if it's done at the right time with the right partners within the right business context. It's an amazing thing. It can do amazing things, and we really enjoy that. We enjoy partnering with people who pursue those dreams, and they know a lot about it, and they're like, well, we know what we want, we just gotta build it, and we have all of this knowledge and power. How to build, how not to build, how to make mistakes, how not to make mistakes, billions of dollars of wasted opportunities, right? Or, like whatever our relation is right now of realized opportunities. So we have this knowledge, and it's amazing. When you stop every one of our employee and you ask them like, so how do you do that? They might not know. But if you connect the proper amount of like a Frankenstein, like this guy and this guy and that guy, and then drive them into this direction, then create this understanding for them, they'll be like, oh, now I get it. So we have this capability. It's really cool. So this is where Railsphere is going.
We can go by product also. So Coupler, for instance, we're aiming to build an analytical platform, which will be the easiest in use for the industry, powerful and easy to use. Because the very big problem is that many companies, they run their business without understanding what happens in their numbers. They don't understand their P&Ls. They don't understand how their marketing campaigns perform. They don't understand how their sales is doing. So they're driving just blindly. Although it's very popular to talk about data-driven businesses, but a lot of that do not happen in the companies. So we see all those companies around, they're driven blindly. And Coupler is aimed to bring light into this fog of the data. And that's what we're trying to build. But it's also a complicated thing. So you can have a lot of sources of data, and then even you take the existing tools, then you need someone expert who will be able to join this data, filter this data, normalize this data. So you need some expert. And to find the expert, you need super luck to find a good expert, or you need to put a lot of effort to bring this expert on board. So it becomes very complicated. That's why companies are driven blindly in many cases. And we want to deliver a version of data analytic tool, let's say, that will help a regular user to be able to connect different sources, QuickBooks, Xero, whatever, like Pipedrive, Salesforce, to a Coupler, and then with the simple navigation and AI communication, build dashboards, reports, which will be insightful, which will alert you, which will show you the spikes and, which you need to pay attention on, and so on.
I would say that the closest we are is to Atomic.vc. It's a company that built HIMS. It was created and co-founded by them, and we're in some similar games, and we have this ability to people want to build products with us because they feel this potential success. They want to partner with us because they were instead of learning how to do everything that you guys already know, let's just partner and join forces.
Let's switch to you guys. Who influences the way that you work? Name a person or many persons or something you look up to, and why.
I can name someone who I thought is great and I thought we could learn from, and then we eventually learned from him, and now I still think that he's great. I'm going to name Rob Mee as the first person. He was the CEO and founder of Pivotal Labs, and we learned a lot from Pivotal Labs and from Rob in general. He had philosophy, and he still has philosophy within him. He's a really amazing guy. We love him. Yeah, Chad Patel for Snowboard. we learned a lot of things from him. He was open. He was always great to share while we were technically de facto competitors as consultancies. With Rob.me and Pivotal Labs, they just give us the key to the office, and I ended up spending 4 months in there, and then just talking to a bunch of their executives. One of them was Danny, also an amazing guy. He shared a lot of approaches. He shared those, like 1-inch punch approaches in certain things in recruiting or product management that ended up making a big difference within the company as we started practicing. We were practicing this 1-inch punch, and it was incredibly successful. And those are amazing contributions. But sometimes you think you're learning from someone. You think he's your hero. But then you see what that hero does later on, and you're like, this is no hero. What Steve Jobs was saying, good artists copy, great artists steal. So people go through their life, and they learn certain things, and they steal them. And they steal so many proper things from proper people that they become, this unstoppable weapon. Brian Chesky is one of them, like a really cool dude that started Airbnb. He still has a lot firepower within him, and he delivers new things right within Airbnb. I think he coined the term founder mode. It's about learning those things, but sometimes your heroes stole it from other people, but share it as it's their approach, right? Because they become more commercially successful. Sometimes we learn from those.
We can talk about people who has written those nice book like Good to Great, which at certain moment at Jim Collins. This book was quite influential back time then. In startup, Eric Rice's book was really kind of influential at that moment. 0 to 1 is kind of one of the books that I love. So I would say it's sometimes not just a person, but rather a book by a person who collected the information from his experience, her experience, like from the experience of their friends and partners, and then they share it as a book. But so the interesting thing here that recently I was trying to find any book that will inspire me, and I have found a book like How Decisions Are Made in NASA. And I was thinking, oh yeah, that's great. I need to listen to it. And so I was snowboarding actually, and during the whole day I was listening to that audiobook. And the funniest thing was that in many cases I was writing and thinking, all right, yeah, that's the way how we do things, and this is how we make decisions, and this is how we hire people. And like it was really very close to the approaches that has been shared in the book. So there was like nothing new for myself to get from that book, which is very kind of interesting, because I was thinking that, NASA probably is already like the highest point of, because it's not only about NASA, it's also about the SpaceX approaches, how they use this stuff there. Of course, some things are not applicable to our business when you talk about materials and like physics of the real objects. That's completely different sphere, right? But if we talk about the management approaches, about the recruitment process, about the team motivation, team management, and again, decision making, there were a lot of things described very similar to the framework that we have, this bridges framework. Basically any problem you can describe through the bridges, but they have similar elements of the framework, but they call it differently in the book. But you see that the idea is the same. So you separate the motivation and then the solution. So you need to describe motivation first, prioritize motivation, and then through this prioritization, you already make a projection to the solution. Because in many cases, there is decisions about solutions done before description of what is the motivation behind that solution. And this is how our brain works this way. I cannot say that I had like idol or icon I would like to be like, but overall, the iPhone era was very inspiring for myself personally. Like I was playing with this iOS possibility to build something that will, some application that will appear on your mobile phone. It was so inspiring for myself personally.
This episode is brought to you by Propel. People take authentication for granted, but it's more than how customers log into your product. It's how you manage your relationship with your users. The easiest way to make authentication your advantage is to use Propel Auth. Propel Auth is more than just functional. It's powerful. With tools like Managed UIs, Enterprise SSO, robust user management features, and actionable insights, Propel Auth adapts as your product grows. And the best part? When auth is effortless, your team can focus on scaling, not troubleshooting. That means more releases, happier customers, and more growth for your business. Save dev time, win over your customers, and propel your business forward with PropelAuth. Check them out at propelauth.com. That's PROPELAUTH.com. Guys, I've got something cool to tell you about. As an engineering leader, a manager, and an engineer myself, I'm geeking out over a new product I'm just discovering that helps me with each of these points of view. The great team at SEMA, builders of the SEMA Intelligence Platform, have been working on what they call the Product Roadmap Radar. It's this integrated solution that uses generative AI to observe your code and Jira in order to summarize, synthesize, and make it easier to deliver your roadmap. It not only helps keep your roadmap on track, but it helps reduce the time engineers spend in meetings. Cue all the engineers clapping. The Product Roadmap Radar is extremely easy to set up. This only takes about 5 minutes. Just enable your integrations and let AI do all the mapping for you. My favorite part? I'm glad you asked. The radar doesn't just tell you about your roadmap. It suggests changes you need to make based on the code that's been written and the stories that have been addressed. No commenting, no special setup, all generative AI. It gives you an outside view of your roadmap based on the code and projects a target completion date based on outstanding work and activity. Again, no comments, no special setup. It even detects shadow work when development is being done but Jira isn't being updated. I'm pretty jazzed about it, and I think you will be too. Take a second to watch a short but awesome demo video. Go to codestory.co/PRR to watch it today. You'll like what you see. Last question, guys. So you're getting on a plane and you're sitting next to a young entrepreneur who's built the next big thing. They're jazzed about it. They can't wait to show it off to the world and can't wait to show it off to you right there on the plane. What advice do you give that person, having gone down this road a bit with products of your own and with your product studio?
I would say you need to look into it like in 3D, right? So for example, I was talking to an entrepreneur and he like, yeah, we're building this thing and like 2 years in it and I use all my savings and I'm so inspired and I'm changing every pixel on the homepage. And I was like, dude, don't change every pixel on the homepage. You don't even know who are you building this for. You got to go validate things much faster and much more aggressive. And it sucks to go validate them. It sucks to find those people and talk to them and they'll reject you and they'll tell you to go screw yourself. And you're afraid to learn that nobody needs that or maybe everyone needs that. But it's like the Schrodinger's cat. While you didn't validate it yet, you feel like it's $1 billion idea still. And you're ready to play in this unreal thing. So right, but at the second time, they validated the idea and there's like 10 people who want it and they're like, okay, now what do I do next? Where are they? And there's no funnel. It's more like a 3D object and you can grow into all the different directions. It's a process, but there are regular things like do definitely build things people want. You need ideal customer profile that you can scale for and you need the product market fit for that ideal customer profile. But this ideal customer profile has to be scalable, maybe because there might be 2 ideal customer profiles on the planet, just two people. So it's about like, so how do you get this target addressable market you can actually address? How are you going to address them? You know, sometimes people say, oh, I need to raise money. Why? Why do you need to raise money? Do you need to raise money? There's so many advices. There's like unlimited advices depending on the state they're at. And also, I mean, we didn't build Microsoft or GitHub, right? So we would give advice with what we think is possible.
For myself, I just want to say that I don't really feel that there is one general advice that can be applicable for any entrepreneur. So they have their situation, you know, there are some technical aspects of the solution they build, marketing aspects, different types of aspects, right? And then we can, like I personally can advise in certain areas, which I personally spend a lot of time at. And like, let's say, if someone in the airplane will tell me that I want to hire a CTO and then he will build me an engineering team, then I would probably advise him to work with some product studio like ours, like, you know, Thoughtbot or Railsware, because it's much more simpler to start a new product with companies like ours and validate the idea. And once it's running, then you can make a decision if you want to then hire CTO, or we can help you to hire CTO. But we've seen this mistake many times, that people just think that they need to hire CTO without having any understanding what this role is about. So they just know some friend who worked in Berkeley that's as a software engineer. He probably can be a great CTO because some big name is in his title was there. It's not true. So technical aspects, marketing aspects is the other thing, as Yaroslav mentioned. So knowing your customer, having at least some strategy or a few strategies how to get to the market. So how we will sell this product, and crunch some numbers, because that's also what we see pretty often, that I will sell it, and they share some numbers, and then you start to calculate how many customers they can have, and if it's specifically like a niche product, so you can calculate like how many customers they can have, then some conversion rate. And there are a lot of wishful thinking always, like the conversion will be 50% from all those customers, which 100%, which is very often not true. So, and it's better to look at 10%, 15% conversion rate, which 1% just for the sake of an experiment. Yeah, so and play the numbers, like will it generate the revenue that you expect, or will you go to a plateau and you will never be able to achieve some numbers? So many smaller different aspects. So we need to have a long discussion and contribute to the different parts of the...
In addition to that, there are this kind of Buddha level advices, like Steve Jobs was saying, stay hungry and stay foolish. Because actually when you're not foolish and you can crunch the numbers and you'll see that there's nothing in there, but maybe you would pivot and then pivot again, and then, a tooth fairy would give you an idea, or something would happen, or your kid would say something and you would pivot the business and boom, you made $1 billion company. But if you crunch the numbers, you just stop. You'd be like, well, you were overthinking about stuff. It's also not the right way to go, right? So stay hungry, stay foolish is pretty smart, because if we would know our stories ahead of time, sometimes we would never start them. But we would never start them and make mistakes, and those mistakes would not lead us to some other things and some other things. Follow the intuition, clean up the intuition. And this is a really nice article by Anderson Horowitz. It's called "What's the Most Difficult CEO Skill? Managing Your Own Psychology." And I think if you would simplify it to one advice, it would, he says, the final word of advice: don't punk out and don't quit. If you're going to quit, you're 100% not going to succeed. But if you don't quit, you have an ability to build up, and by mistake, by random, right? Like showing up. Like show up. If you show up every day, you will have a chance of succeeding because you're doing something. If you don't show up and don't do anything, you will not succeed. Nobody will come to you and say, you know what? That idea that you had right before your dream, 3 months ago, it's $1 billion idea. Here's $500 million for you right now, and I'll go build it instead of you. Thanks for the idea. I'm going to go build it, and here's $500 million already. Not going to happen. And then, he has those 3 other things, technique to calm down your nerves, because this nervousness and craziness takes you up so much that it pushes you to quit. So not to quit, make some friends and talk to them about it. Make friends in the industry, talk to them, listen to their stories. Get things out of your head and onto the paper, because the things in your head, they keep on rotating and rolling, and they're just making a hole in your head. Focus on the road, not on the wall, right? You will say, oh, what if nobody signs up? What if nobody signs up? And you get yourself crazed up. And then you just drive into the wall, because this is what you're focusing on. So focus on the road, not onto the wall.
Do not believe the books about success. Very popular genre, right? That people one person delivered the book that how I became successful. And then all those stories, they usually very sweet, and many important details are missing. And for young entrepreneurs, they might think that everything was so easy and great, and that's inspiring, but that actually, in many cases, it's not true. Like the whole story looked completely different. It's like history of countries also are rewritten, by the winners, and it might be absolutely a different scenario that led someone to success.
All fantastic pieces of advice. Well, gentlemen, thank you for being on the show today, and thank you for telling the creation story of Railsware.
For sure. Thank you for inviting us.
And this concludes another chapter of Code Story. Code Story is hosted and produced by Noah Labhart. Be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or the podcasting app of your choice. And when you get a chance, leave us a review. Both things help us out tremendously. And thanks again for listening.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/PODKATZ12. Just go to Indeed.com/PODKATZ12 right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.